Okay, weight flow through dehumidifier, a non-rotary type, obviously. Not getting any water through. Turn it on. It's got extremely cold, so I actually had this disabled last year because I could never get the setting right. Didn't occur to me just to modulate the airflow through the ductwork here through the valve. Instead, I was pissing around with this all season. But anyway, so I've resurrected it again for this year. So it hasn't been operating for about a year, over a year, and turned it on. Set the humidistat to something reasonable and not getting any any water flow. I've changed the filter and cleaned everything up. It was, function checking it, of course. Not getting any water flow, so I thought, well, there's a little LED here, which it looks like it's on. Actually, that's just because of the light in the camera, guys. It's no on at the moment. And it tells you whether there's power to the solenoid or not. And it was on, and yeah, it wasn't getting any water flow. So this is a very handy wee rig. It actually checks for the presence of a magnetic field, and I confirmed there was a magnetic field. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that the plunger is operating. So I suspected that this was probably, all bunged up, but it's not. It's free to move, surprisingly. So I suspect that that's moving, and it is in fact moving. And when I opened the valve, I was getting water flow to the block here, but if I blow in this end, no bueno. Nothing. It's blocked, unbelievably. This line here to this line here to the block. So the water's coming in. You get the pintle opens for the solenoid valve, but there's no water flow because the line is blocked somewhere here. Probably somewhere right here-ish, I suspect. It's discolored there. I suspect it's probably right there. So anyway, I'm going to snake it with some lock wire and see if we have any luck. Huh. Surprisingly, it is not the block. That's just a wee stain. That is not a port. That's got nothing to do with it. The port is actually right there, as you can see, right dead center. So this, you can hear, does in fact have flow through it. With the pintle and all the valve gubbins out of it, of course it's just open ports. And this, completely blocked. Blowing the other end. No, you're not going to see me blowing in the other end. Oh, nutting. So I'll snake that line. How does that happen? Anything can happen, I guess, huh? We have flow. So, in thinking about this is not just a ferrule. I'm sure this has probably got a built-in restrictor as well in order to limit the amount of flow through the rig, right? That would make some sense. The plug was right here. Just snaked it, as I said, with a wee bit of log wire. And I'm quite certain we will get some flow through there now. Yeah, there is a restrictor in there. Tiny wee port. So there's the valve actually all reassembled, guys. The coil is held on just by a little horseshoe clip that goes onto the pintle housing. The pintle housing has a flange, 2 screws that bolts onto the valve block. Pretty straightforward, really. And then 2 screws just, of course, fasten it, the whole assembly to the control module, right? So I'm pretty sure they'll do it. There's pressure on the line at the moment, so it should be leak checked, at least in the closed position. And there'll be water pressure when the solenoid opens on this side. Although I say pressure, it's actually, of course, open-ended on this end, right, as it goes into the little distribution plenum. So the ducting is all back on in the housing. We'll function this, and the whole point is I only really wanted to adjust the flow regulation through it so we get a reasonable amount of water flow through the grid there. So as I said, solenoid there is a 24 volt AC solenoid, and this little rig is very handy actually for checking for the presence of a magnetic field. I'll show you in action. Hopefully we can get the timing right, so I'll turn on the furnace. See this, of course, once it sees a temperature shift, it knows what the nominal temperature is right now. When the furnace kicks in, it'll see an increase in temperature. If the humidistat demand hasn't been met, it will apply power to the solenoid. opening the valve and of course letting water flow through, right? So we'll see if we can catch the timing on that. The cap on this little rig has a little magnet in it, so it's nice. You can see in the presence of a magnetic field, you can see it glows. It's really quite handy. Right, turn on. Heat on. Heat demand. Furnace will go through its cycle. As I said, once the humidifier sees that shift in temperature, it will energize the solenoid. Hope you can see the green LED, although again the flashes, the light in the camera's making it look like it's on, guys. It's not on. And there's no power on that solenoid at the moment. There it is. So you can quite clearly see we have a magnetic field now around the coil. I think you can tell now, guys, that is in fact lit now, meaning that the solenoid is energized. So this is kind of redundant, but and it proved that it is in fact reaching, or there's continuity in the coil. And let's take this open. Let's open this up now, and I suspect we should have water flow. And I will just adjust the VT valve there until I get a reasonable flow. Cold weather climate's what a pain in the ass. I think I'll move myself to Bermuda or something. Maybe Victoria, BC would be nice. I can see there's water through there already, actually. Sure, you can see the water going through the grid there, guys, on the camera. I'm not sure if I'll capture it, but I can see it. There we go. We do in fact have water flow through the valve. That's too much water flow, in fact. Turn the valve a wee bit here. Doesn't take much. And that's probably adequate, actually, guys, believe it or not. Otherwise, if you have a massive flow, of course, it's just going right through the drain. It's a flow through the humidifier. Of course, that's the whole point, is to soak the grid. The air bypasses from the higher pressure in the distribution plenum back to the return. And of course, the air picks up the moisture as it goes. So I think I'm happy with that. Yeah, I think that'll be adequate. And of course, in the coming weeks and months, well, we're in January, late January now, so we've got a bit of winter left here in Canada, a couple of months anyway. I'll just adjust both the humidistat setting and the amount of flow through it. You can regulate the amount of air, because if you get it wrong, it soaks the windows and stuff, and it's quite annoying to try and get the adjustment on these things right, guys. But in any case, it looks like we're watertight. Sorry. Looks like we're watertight on the housing. Looks good to me. Doubling as a video and a nice comprehensive leak check for me. Right, anyway, I hope that was somewhat useful for you guys. Yeah, as I said, if you go in cold weather climate, it's not going to really mean bugger all to you, but it makes a difference. Your skin will absolutely be crawling in no time at all if you don't get this set up properly and operational. So yeah, nothing more than a wee plug in the restrictor right here. That's it. I've dragged this out for long enough. That's it, boys. Cheers.